impossible will break, and that's the truth. My advice is stop and listen. You've got what it takes to do what you do, so don't let them blind your vision. We've seen few and far between. At the bar, a queen could be a starving teen, so live up to what you plan to be.
Just my father, he taught me how to play basketball, then I learned how to play. So I joined U16 to get some stuff.
New stuff?
Yeah.
I was lucky to have parents that were into the outdoors and took me along everywhere. So because I grew up in such amazing wildernesses, I think it was natural to care a lot about them.
My mom always read out loud to us, and I just loved the stories, and I wanted to make my own. Or sometimes I didn't love the stories. I was like, well, why did they do that? I don't like that. Why would she do that and not this? And so I was like, I'll just write my own stories, and then I like the way they end or begin. Or
usually when I'm painting, I put on music, and I don't know, it's kind of like when you start dancing and you don't think about it. When I start painting, I don't really think about it until I take a step back and look at what I painted.
Growing up, I was very interested in birds, and there's this weird thing that birders do called a big year, where you try to see as many birds in a single year as possible. And traditionally, these birders are flying from one corner of the continent to the other, like chasing down a rare bird in Alaska and Florida and Texas. And the guy who won the big year contest flew the equivalent distance of going to the moon and partway back again, obviously burning up copious amounts of fossil fuels. So we thought that it was sort of ridiculous that if you're birders who should be caring about birds and the environment and climate change, you shouldn't be a major contributor to climate change. So we did a big year bet entirely on bicycles, and saw 550 species of birds, and we were able to raise $20,000 for bird conservation.
I think creative writing is an excellent tool for activism. And I think getting a message across, a message of love and a message of social justice and these things, you can just utilize creative writing in such a way that you really have an impact on people and you really change their mind. And I think that if you can write a story that changes one person's mind or influences one person's political beliefs, then that's enough.
One thing that I really liked that Picasso said was that if he wanted people to get a certain feeling from his paintings, he would have became an author, because then he'd know exactly what people felt and what he wanted people to feel. I really like that quote by Picasso because I feel the same way. I feel like I really enjoy when people come to different conclusions about my works of art.
It feels really good to know that other people are reading your work and they're feeling something from it.
Whenever you can have that moment where you know that you were effective and that you achieved your goals, I think it's a pretty empowering feeling because you put so much effort into it.
How did you describe to someone what you're feeling when you're playing basketball?
Sometimes nervous, sometimes excited.
Time just flies when I write. Like, it'll be 10 hours will feel like 10 minutes, and I look at the clock and I'm like, how did that just happen?
When you scored, it's like you feel like you're number one.
It makes me feel so good. When I don't write for a while, I start feeling bummed out, and I'm like, why am I so sad, or why am I so just down right now? And then I'll think about it and I'll be like, when was the last time I wrote? Like, it's been a few days, or it's been a week.
I think how painting differs is my ability to just use my creative license, not really have to answer to anybody about what I'm gonna do, how long it's gonna take, or what it's gonna look like when it's done. And I think I really enjoy that about painting.
It's just you get to be whoever you want to be, and you get to feel whatever you want to feel. And no one's going to judge you in that moment unless your other characters are, and in that case, you have control of that.
When people ask me, like, how do you become better at drawing, or how do you become better at painting, I always tell them, you know, it's trial and error. It's working hard and not expecting every piece of art to come out looking like a Mona Lisa.
We're getting better when we make a mistake.
Yeah, we learn from our mistakes sometimes. We want to be an NBA player someday. Yeah, if you're lucky.
I've had 100 special moments, more than that, millions of special moments in my life. But I know that there's going to be just as special, even more special moments coming. So I never look back, I only look forward.
Living somewhere like the Yukon, where you have so many hardy birds that can survive the winter, and then all of a sudden in April, all the birds that flew south for the winter come back, and the forest is flooded with bright yellow warblers and finches and all sorts of amazing birds.